My best friend worked in recreation and parks briefly. She was just appointed to be the acting director. And she called me up and she said, do you want to be assistant director, associate director? And I said, well, what does an associate director do? So I don't know. We could figure it out. It can't be rocket science. And so I stumbled into recreation and parks. And I've loved it. I haven't gone anywhere since, because when you wake up in the morning and you really have the ability to change lives, no day is the same. I think as recreation and parks professionals, we have the very best job in the whole entire country, because whatever our interests are, we can help other people pursue our own interests. So where can you have fun, work really hard, change lives, and give people opportunities they otherwise wouldn't have? Nowhere. When I think back 18 years ago, before I got into our field professionally, I've seen that there are a lot more voices around the table that look like me. I can't tell you how many rooms I've walked into, and I'm the only person who looks like me, whether it's I'm the only female, I'm the only African-American, or I'm the only African-American female, or I'm the only female director, what have you. So that's changed. There are more people around the tables who look like me. There's not enough people around the tables who look like me, and there's still groups that aren't represented. 17 years ago, we weren't looking into as LGBTQIA plus issues because they weren't in the forefront. Now we have the ability to help people all over the country kind of change their views and really model the behaviors that we'd like to see. I think that we have the opportunity to make people feel welcome. And, when you hear a story about a trans person who's at this conference who can't use the restroom because we don't have restrooms that are non-binary, or we don't have restrooms that are unisex. And when, a year ago I was at a conference and I saw one of the staff people who I'm very close with in another jurisdiction, and our bus was parked in front of the crosswalk. And it's like, we are recreation and parks, and we need to bring that to people's attention. But I think that we have the opportunity to make everyone in this country feel welcome. Oh my gosh, a young person thinking about getting into the field, do it. You should have done it years ago. But I think the future is bright for recreation and parks. I didn't hear anyone talking about recreation and parks really 20 years ago. And now so many people are talking about it. So many people are telling their stories about how they grew up in recreation and parks, how they're a recreation and parks kid. And to be able to give back to your communities, we're starting to see some of the same benefits for recreation and parks professionals that police officers, firemen, and teachers also have, because we are first responders. One of the things that COVID pointed out is that recreation and parks does have a role, and they have a very vital role in our communities. We, prior to COVID, we were the second largest provider of out-of-school meals. When COVID hit, we were the first largest provider of out-of-school meals because schools were closed, and we were second only to schools. So when people see us out there, our agency, when I was in Baltimore County at the time, we got about 4 million meals during COVID. We shut down on Friday, March 13th. Monday, March 16th, we were serving meals. Everyone else was at home, but our staff are first responders. For many communities, the park is where the community comes. So parks really do help build community. People use parks as landmarks. Oh, I'm around the corner from such and such park, or such and such is my neighborhood park. I think it means a lot. It determines the health of a community, not just any park, a good park, and a very good park, a clean park. It determines the health of the community. It determines how safe your children are going to be, determines how safe your community is, how much you use the park, determines how much crime you're going to have in that park. Usually a well-used park has a decrease in crime. A park that's hardly used has a little bit more of an increase in crime. But I think the parks do help build community. I think parks increase your property value. The closer you are to a park, the higher your property value is. And I think it's just an amenity. There's the rise of the creative class. You create creative activities, then your creative people will come to your community. So it also increases your tax base. And if you look within a certain distance of a park, you'll see the houses and how nice they look. And the further away you get from a park, they start to look a little bit different. If you look at some of the housing areas, The public housing areas, there's a lot of concrete and very few trees. And I think that we're seeing the trend kind of flip because the tree equity that's coming into communities with parks, with design, I think will help increase the health of that community. When you have more trees, you just have a healthier community. But it's not just the trees, it's everything that comes along with those trees. My team knows that I look for several things in our publications. I look for people who are all different shades, not just a light-skinned African-American person, but a dark-skinned African-American person, males, females. I want to switch the stereotypes up. I want a woman to be a mechanic. I want a man to be an administrative assistant, just to switch things up. So we were doing a STEAM Fest for Innovation or STEM Month, and we had all these STEAM characters, STEAM. And so the main character was Captain Steam, who was in charge of all these STEAM characters. And I said, I want you to make Captain Steam in a wheelchair. So Captain Steam's in a wheelchair. We have our event. Kids come from all over the place. And there's a child in a wheelchair. And that child says, Mommy, Captain Steam looks like me. And so at that point, my whole team got it. And they're like, we get why she's like that. But what a difference we made in that child's life. And they saw themselves. And so, of course, my team took pictures and videos and everything. But that was my most memorable moment because the reason why I'm hard on everyone being able to see themselves is because it's important. And my team got it, we got it, and look how we changed the life.